with this Deshaun Watson news, we've got a lot to talk about and speculate on. Now, granted, before I begin, there's a lot of connecting dots here, not a lot of concrete information, but we do have a lot of tangible things to look at here. Things that actually make a whole lot of sense. Deshaun Watson, in my opinion, is favored to go to the Atlanta Falcons like I reported last night. There's still a lot that has to be taken into account here, a lot that still has to happen. Nothing's concrete. This is pure speculation at this point, but when we connect the dots, there's a lot to look at here. Watson, according to Rappaport, Cleveland is out. Carolina has reportedly been ruled out. According to a couple reports, Rappaport said he's not entirely sure if that report is accurate, but someone that he does believe to be very accurate with the reporting has reported that Carolina is probably no longer in play. Cleveland is out. Cleveland is no longer in play, according to several reports, meaning that the Atlanta Falcons and New Orleans Saints are the only left players for the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. Now, a lot of buzz was created a little while ago when Kyle Pitts sent this tweet out. And he said, "It's about to get scary in Atlanta." He then deleted the tweet after the internet blew up and absolutely practically broke the internet. The internet just almost failed because everyone was going nuts. He's got this little quiet, I've got a secret zipper emoji. And he later tweeted this out. He deleted the tweet, Kyle Pitts, who has the same agent as Deshaun Watson, I might add. After he tweets this out and deletes it, he then sends these two tweets out. It says, "This is what I was talking about. My dog's back." He's talking about the Casey Hayward signing. Yeah, right. And then he says, "Relax, take a breath," crying emojis. But what makes me think that that's garbage, him saying, "Whoops, I put my foot in my mouth here," is this zipper emoji. This zipper emoji. You don't put that unless you know something. Okay, we know our emojis. Come on, we know what time it is. When you put this emoji in your tweet with a ... it's about to get scary in Atlanta. Like, come on, guys. I've got a psych degree. You think I'm not going to be able to break this down, Kyle Pitts? Do better, Kyle. Do better, because I see right through it. It's about to get scary in Atlanta. ... means to be continued. You'll find out. Zipper. Don't tell anybody. It's clear as day what Kyle Pitts is talking about. Now, look, there's a lot of moving parts. Okay, a lot of moving parts. Matt Ryan still needs to be traded. Okay, that's why I've got his mug up on screen right here. He's also due, I believe, a $7 million bonus at 4 p.m. today, meaning that Matt Ryan has to be moved before 4 p.m. today. Who are the suitors? Cleveland is clearly in the cards for being a landing spot for Matt Ryan because Baker's unhappy. However, Baker Mayfield requested a trade today. Baker Mayfield told ESPN it's in the mutual interest of both sides for us to move on. The relationship is too far fine to mend. It's in the best interest of both sides to move on, is what Baker basically said. But then the Cleveland Browns came back and said this little number right here. Cleveland's response, this according to Jake Trotter. Browns have told Baker Mayfield's camp that they're not accommodating his request per source. Everybody's got a per source. No one's got an actual source. It's per source. Everyone's got a source. Everybody's got a source. I got a source. You want to know? Watson might go to Atlanta per source. Per Miss Smitty in the other room. Everyone's got a per source. But okay, it's okay. It's all about how do you trust the source that's sourcing the source, okay? If I trust Rappaport knows his stuff, and we know Schefter's been wrong about a lot, but when it comes to information, he is going to be, him and Rappaport are the most connected, so as much as they've failed us from time to time, we still got to trust them. And when Rappaport says that we're looking at literally no other options but New Orleans and Atlanta, I'm going to tend to believe him because I think he does have some connections to this situation, obviously. So if he says Carolina's out, or he says that a source he truly trusts says is out, but he's not for sure, he's not willing to completely rule him out himself, I'm thinking that Carolina's out, because we heard Cleveland was out, then it was confirmed Cleveland was pretty much out. Cleveland needs to move on. Cleveland doesn't want to trade Baker Mayfield upon Baker Mayfield's request, but that doesn't mean they will not trade him under their own terms. And so everybody thinking that Baker won't get traded right now because it was said by Cleveland that they won't accommodate his request for a trade, that doesn't necessarily mean they won't trade him. He 100% could still be traded. So know that. That doesn't mean that they may not go after Matt Ryan. They're going to go after Matt Ryan on their own terms. But Matt Ryan going to Indy still feels like a very, very likely choice, which will upset Jimmy G fans or Niner fans who want Jimmy G gone. So Jimmy G fans and non-Jimmy G fans, anybody that wants Jimmy G in Indy, Indy's looking at two options. Indy's looking at Matt Ryan, and Indy's also going to be entertaining other options. It's not just going to come down to Jimmy G. I think if I had to guess, it's very complicated. I think New Orleans is definitely the cleanest move because it doesn't require the Matt Ryan trade. But I truly believe, in my heart of hearts, I truly believe, based on what I've read and what I've heard, and I do have sources too that have sources per source, and it's not just Miss Smitty in the other room. Per source, per multiple sources, I do hear his preferred destination is the Atlanta Falcons. That's why we haven't heard anything yet, because he is hoping that this all can get worked out. The moving parts can all line up and that he can go to Atlanta. I mean, this is like home to him. Okay, they have a huge advantage of landing Deshaun Watson, and I don't want to hear it that Atlanta's not a good landing spot. It's a very good landing spot. He would be worshipped in Atlanta. He would be following in Mike Vick's footsteps, which I believe is a big deal to him. And he also gets the best long-term asset out of all of the options on the table. So if you talk about Carolina, you got McCaffrey and DJ Moore. McCaffrey's not playing more than one elite year, maybe a year and a half, okay? And if you talk about, let's go back or let's go to New Orleans, Kamara, maybe 2 years left at an elite level if he's not suspended for the entire 2022 season for his off-the-field beatdown that was handed down to a guy in an elevator. Look, Mike Thomas is no spring chicken. Mike Thomas is no guarantee. Kyle Pitts is the number one asset out of all these options that you can attach to Deshaun Watson and build around. Watson to Kyle Pitts for a decade. Build around it. You have yourself maybe one or two championship opportunities. Maybe they don't win it, but Super Bowl appearances? Do I think the Atlanta Falcons? You can laugh all you want, but do I think the Atlanta Falcons in due time, not 2022, because Watson might get suspended 4 to 6 games. 2022 is practically a wasted year. Because if Watson does get suspended, and this could come down in 2023, he could get the suspension in 2023. The NFL could wait until all of his cases are resolved. Maybe he resolves them ahead of time to get the suspension out of the way. But Watson is looking at a 4 to 6 game potential suspension, according to everything that I'm hearing, because he did, in fact, regardless of the criminal charges not being brought forward, he did, in fact, violate the league's personal conduct policy by doing all these 20 plus massage therapy sessions, okay, which he admits to doing. He just admits that they're consensual. This man will be suspended, and so if it is in 2022, this could be a wasted year. Wherever he goes, the team acquiring him is kind of in the know that he could get suspended, and you're looking at him missing maybe 4 to 6 games. So this is, look, we need to think long term here. Even if you're playing redraft, even if you don't play dynasty fantasy football, you need to think long-term here. Long-term. What is best for Deshaun Watson? I know a lot of you want to say New Orleans because of the now. I want it now. You're not patient. You're not thinking this through. Atlanta is the best place for Deshaun Watson for 2023 and beyond. It's Kyle Pitts season, people. Kyle Pitts is the next Travis Kelce, and he's already kind of at that level. People in Dynasty know that. He's the number one Dynasty football, fantasy football tight end. The number one already. But if he gets Deshaun Watson, you're talking about Travis Kelce, locked in type value for a decade. For a decade. Think long term here, okay? Don't think about such a short term, like, look at this and say, oh, but you've got McCaffrey and DJ Moore. Or even in Cleveland. And Cleveland's out, so let it go. But even if we were to talk about it, Chubb and Hunt and Cooper, that's not going to be as good long term as Kyle Pitts and what you build around him. Kyle Pitts is going to be a beast. Kyle Pitts didn't do anything last year. Nathan, watch your mouth, Nathan. Kyle Pitts didn't do anything last year? Are you? Take a look. Nathan. Does somebody want to tell him? Do you guys want to tell him or should I tell him? Nathan. Kyle Pitts had the best rookie season we've ever seen for a tight end. What are you talking about? You just got lammed.
Go ahead.
Getting lammed.
Just got lammed on the show. Look, Nathan, I get you might be a little disappointed because you drafted him in round 2, expecting him to be a 1,500-yard, 15 TD rookie. But people that had proper expectation for Kyle Pitts knew that this kid was going to be the best rookie tight end in history. In NFL history, Nathan. What did he do? Take a look. Ball is life. Don't make me make you take a lap too. Kyle Pitts was a redraft bust last year. Take a look. Come on, Ball is life. I think you're trying to rile me up. You can't possibly think that. As Kenny said, only the best rookie season for a tight end ever in capital letters, which is correct and proper usage of the capital letter. All caps usage there, Kenny. I mean, guys, really, if you think Kyle, and I think Ball's Life is kidding. If you think, I know Nathan's not kidding, though. If you think Kyle Pitts busted in redraft last year, you had your expectations way out of whack. Because he had the best rookie tight end season ever. Unbelievable. Jimmy G traded to Cleveland. Why on earth would they want to get rid of Baker Mayfield to bring in Jimmy G? Why would you want to downgrade Baker Mayfield into an injured, not even healthy, injury-prone, garbage not 33rd best quarterback in the NFL minimum? Or at best is the best way to describe that, I guess. At best, the 33rd best quarterback in the NFL. He is the best. He could be the best backup in the league. Let's give Jimmy G the credit he barely deserves. He is possibly the second or first best backup quarterback in the entire National Football League. Now, will Jimmy G be starting somewhere? Will that prove me wrong? No. Coaches make stupid moves all the time. And Jimmy G will probably, if he's released, start somewhere. But I think the Niners are probably holding on to him, which is what I predicted from the beginning, which is going to drive all of us mad because it's Trey Lance season. We don't need the distraction. But, I mean, Jimmy G, nobody wants him. Nobody wants Jimmy G. He's $27 million and hurt. He's $27 million and just went through shoulder surgery. No one knows for sure if he'll be ready for camp. You can project he might be ready for camp, but what person's going to attach their team to Jimmy G while they don't know what's going to happen? And Baker's better. Baker's better. I don't even like Baker. I'm not trying to argue that Baker's a top 25 quarterback. He's in the bottom 10 or 12 in the entire NFL. Baker's a bottom 10 quarterback. But Baker's way better than Jimmy G. Way better than Jimmy G. Nobody wants Jimmy G. All it takes is one team. So I don't need to hear it if he ends up getting traded to, let's say the Colts get desperate and they miss out on this and that, and then the Colts come in and then they get Jimmy G. They trade for Jimmy G in some kind of weird deal that makes sense, like almost for free because the contract is brutal. I don't want to hear, I told you, Smitty, he'd find a job. Like, it takes one team. It takes one team to make a stupid decision. It's possible. But in general, you have to be crazy to think Jimmy G is your future anywhere in the next 1 to 3 years. Jimmy G will be irrelevant as a starting quarterback within 2 seasons, if not 1. If Jimmy G gets a shot this year, he will either not be starting the next year or halfway through the season of the next year. There's no way he's relevant for more than 1 season. Deshaun Watson, as we've been talking about, if you're just joining us, likely going to New Orleans or to Atlanta. These are the 2 spots that are currently in contention. A couple reports that I do trust say that Carolina is out. That is not 100% confirmed. It's not cemented in, so know that could potentially swing back in the other direction. But as it stands right now, on good authority and confirmed partially by Ian Rappaport, who went on the McAfee show and did say that the source that is claiming that the Carolina Panthers is out is a very trusted source. He can't confirm that it is 100% the case himself, but he is saying that this source is reliable and that he's always trusted this source in the past. So let's just make sure that's clear, that it's not 100%. These are the 2 landing spots that are the only players left in the race, meaning that if Atlanta can't move Matt Ryan in enough time, 4 p.m. today, his $7 million bonus is guaranteed. Now, that doesn't mean that he still can't be traded. It doesn't mean that the team can't take that on. To my knowledge, they can. It makes the deal a little more complicated. So let's say Atlanta and Cleveland, or Atlanta and potentially Indy. I think Indy is a very likely landing spot for Matt Ryan if the Cleveland Browns are refusing to trade Baker, which is the current report, the most recent report. It might be that they're saying they won't trade Baker on Baker's terms. Baker wants to seek a trade. They said no, but it doesn't mean that they don't want to trade Baker. They're just not granting him permission to go poking around. They're going to do their due diligence, and they're going to move Baker if they want to move Baker. Baker's not going to have a say to go seek a trade. It's a very different thing when you give someone permission to go seek a trade. Baker could go seek a trade and try and work out what's best for him based on how he's been behaving. The Browns are like, no, we'll trade you if we want. So they may trade Baker, they may not. Matt Ryan landing in Cleveland is a real possibility, but right now Indy feels like a big player for Matt Ryan. Why? Why is Indy a big player? Because they've got a lot of cap space. They can take on Matt Ryan, and it's not that big of a deal. Plus, think about it. Think about it for 1 second. Okay? And let's back up from fantasy a little bit. Okay? Matt Ryan is not the most attractive fantasy football quarterback option. Am I right? I'm right. Okay, thumbs up if I'm right. However, Matt Ryan and Matthew Stafford, and think about Stafford in Detroit. Don't think about Stafford as you know him right now, because you're going to be biased. You're going to think differently of Stafford. You're going to think, oh, Stafford's amazing. Stafford's awesome. Stafford's a top 6 to 7 quarterback. I've always loved Stafford. He just needed a chance. But Stafford in Detroit had the same kind of feel as Matt Ryan. He can produce. You don't know if you can trust him. He's never really done it. You know, like, or you know, even Ryan, you might even have more confidence in some of the track record he's had versus Stafford's in Detroit. But Detroit held Stafford back. But you think about, okay, Matt Ryan. If Matt Ryan goes to Indy, Matt Ryan could lead this team into a deep playoff run. Like, Indy becomes a really, really good team with Matt Ryan under center. You're talking about a scary playoff team. We're not talking about they make the playoffs. Matt Ryan from a football perspective, let's take fantasy out, is a very, very good fit in Indy. Indy wants to win now. Indy is prepared to offer and take on a lot of cap. And so Stafford going over to the Rams and doing what he did feels like it could be an awful lot like, in hindsight, Matt Ryan coming over to Indy and taking this team a lot further than people expect. I'm not expecting huge fantasy numbers for Matt Ryan in Indy, but I would expect a very good result from a football perspective, and it's great for Jonathan Taylor to have Matt Ryan under center. Matt Ryan going to the Colts is going to be my prediction here. And granted, there's a lot of moving parts, so this is not an easy thing to predict. I'm not expecting this to be, a home run or slam dunk. But I've said it for a couple days now. I went live last night, broke down the Atlanta Falcons situation, why that scenario makes the most sense for me, even though there's so many moving parts. Matt Ryan needing to be traded by 4 p.m. to avoid the $7 million bonus that he gets, but not ruling the trade out altogether. So Matt Ryan going to the Colts seems like, think about it for a second. What are the Colts going to do? The Colts want to win now. The Colts believe they can win now. No one in Indy is saying we don't have a good enough team to win. They just need a quarterback. Matt Ryan, if available, even overpaid. His contract's awful. His contract's one of the worst contracts. Him and Kirk Cousins have some of the worst contracts in the entire NFL. But Matt Ryan to the Indianapolis Colts is well worth it. They have the cap space to take this on. They can even do some kind of the restructure. If they don't restructure by 4 p.m., they can restructure them and do something with the money. Money can be moved in different ways where they can pay it up front and have less of a crippling effect downstream. Matt Ryan in Indy is a beautiful solution. And to be honest, if I'm Indy, it's the only move. If Indy doesn't take Matt Ryan while he's available, Watson wants to go to a... Guys, this makes so much sense. It's driving me nuts that most people aren't reporting it to this degree. I know it's being kicked around. I know the Kyle Pitts tweet made people wonder. But when people start projecting and they say, I had too many moving parts, Indy needs a quarterback this badly. And if Matt Ryan's available, he's the only option. And Indy has the cap to do it. I feel like it's going to get done. Even if it doesn't get done by 4 o'clock. The only concern I have here is that Watson wants to move on. Watson wants to close the door on the chapter of his life that was Houston. And right now, New Orleans has the opportunity to take that pain away. He can close the door immediately if he wants to go to New Orleans. So if this gets too lengthy and let's say the Atlanta Falcons and the Colts are dragging their feet, if a deal is even being worked on, and this is my speculation, I can't repeat enough that this is me connecting dots. This is me trying to speculate and predict what's going to happen. I'm a prediction show. But why would Indy not take advantage of the situation? And Blackbeard's reporting something that is not pleasing my eyes. 22 likes and we have 103 people in here. Please wipe your feet at the front door if I'm giving you any value at all. It helps the channel. Please match the thumbs up to the viewers if you can. 103 of you and 22 likes. Really? This is like, do I have to write a letter like Baker about how I need likes? Smitty letter writer. Baker letter maker. Do I have to really do I have to result to that? Baker can also go to Indy. He just demanded a trade. Jersey, he demanded a trade, but if you missed it, the Browns denied his demand and said, we're not letting you decide where you're going, and we may not even trade you. So his demand of a trade was denied. You can't demand anything. He can't demand anything. He doesn't have a leg to stand on. Baker Mayfield, trade denied. But if they want to trade him, they'll trade him on their terms, not his terms. They're not letting him go shop himself around. They'll trade him if they want. And if they don't, they'll keep him. They're not giving him permission to do anything. Baker Mayfield hasn't earned that in their eyes. Baker Mayfield hasn't carried himself well enough to be able to demand a trade. They already said no. We covered that earlier. Appreciate you being here. I just wanted to catch you up. Watson to New Orleans, again, very, very likely. Very, very likely. 41 thumbs up, says Kenny. Thank you, guys. Keep punching that thumbs up. It helps the channel. Smitty, like requester. That's it, Jordan. Kamara, that like button. Baker Mayfield to Atlanta. I don't think so, Noah. I don't think so. Atlanta. Come on, bro. Like, what? Noah. I mean, this is almost lap-worthy. Watson's begging to go to Atlanta. It's like going back home to him. And you're telling me that the Atlanta Falcons will go through the extent of trading Matt Ryan away, Noah. As difficult as that is, they trade him to Indy, let's say. And then they're going to trade for Baker and not trade for Watson?
Take a look.
Oh, Noah, do better. Read the room, Noah. Read the room. Watson, guys, I really think Watson's headed to Atlanta. Welcome back, Noah, by the way. Welcome back. Take your lap, come back, kick your feet up. Let's go. Baker. We're going to trade Matt Ryan. We finally did it. We calculated it. It's like literally. Here it is. Here it is. Why is that blurry? Come on. Focus. Goodness gracious. Gotta go to this board. Okay, so here it is. Okay, according to my calculations, 2, 5, 25, 37 to the 4. Calculate and carry over. Hold on. We need ink. We need ink. Hold on. In the middle of our calculations. Hold on. To the 24th power divided by 7 equals. Okay, we can get rid of Matt Ryan. And now let's trade him. Let's trade for Baker. Go through all that work, this very difficult calculation to get rid of Matt Ryan's contract and send him to Indy. And then we're just going to trade for Baker when Watson's sitting at our doorstep, Noah? Okay. I would love to know what you guys think. Do you think it's going to be the New Orleans Saints? Do you think that Ryan gets traded by 4 p.m. to the Colts? I believe it's going to be the Colts. They've got the cap to make it happen. They've got the motivation to make it happen. And do you think Watson will be in Atlanta by the end of the night? Let me know what you think. It seems very fitting. All this, connecting all these dots, it seems very fitting. The writing's on the wall. Or will he say, give me the simplistic approach. I don't want to wait on Matt Ryan. Too many moving parts. I want this done now. Give me the New Orleans Saints. Drop it in the comments here. Let's go. Omar says the Saints. I hope Watson goes to the Falcons. I'm in agreement with you. I think people that think the Falcons are a bad spot are nuts. I've seen Deshaun literally crying on the bench for losing games after teammates' failures. He will get a lot of those at least 3 years in a row in Atlanta. Omar, you're not thinking big enough, bro. You're not thinking big enough here. You got to look deeper. This is the same kind of thinking that had people say that the Bengals winning the division last year was a joke when I said it. Okay? The Atlanta Falcons are a different team if you put Watson on it. You got to think about that. Like they're a 3 or a 4 out of 10 right now without Watson. You put Watson on the team, they're immediately a 7 out of 10. And then you build around it. Think long term, pal. Don't think about the selfish now. Don't think about right away because Watson could be out 4 to 6 games anyway, being suspended for violating the league's personal conduct policy. Don't worry about 2022. Think longer term, bro. Think about Kyle Pitts, building around him. It's going to happen. Falcons are so bad, such a bad spot. Come on. Wesley, you're not thinking long term, bro. This is the same crap I got with the Bengals. The Bengals aren't good. The Bengals aren't going to be good, Smitty. The same crap. Same short, small window type thinking. You're not thinking big enough here. Okay? Do you know what you could do with Watson and Kyle Pitts and how you could build around it? People need to understand how good of a landing spot Atlanta could become. It's crazy. And Chris, you're not thinking long term here. You're thinking 2022 only. Because Watson, if he goes to New Orleans, think about it, Chris. You're not thinking long term here. If he goes to New Orleans, what happens? He misses 4 to 6 games for violating the league's conduct policy. What happens? Alvin Kamara's probably getting suspended for half a season or 4 to 6 games or maybe longer. What's in New Orleans that's any different? And Watson can carry himself, bro, until they build around him. Not to mention, he's done a lot with one weapon before. Cordero Patterson would likely want to come back. And I know he's not a good long-term option, but if all you're concerned about, Chris, is this year, think about it. Cordero comes back, does pretty well for 1 year. You figure out a replacement at running back for the long term. Kyle Pitts is there. You guys got to think long term. This Watson landing in Atlanta is a bad option. Needs to be more examined. Mike Thomas, Wesley, is not what you think he is right now. He's done nothing to prove he's back. Nothing. Alvin Kamara is getting suspended. How long, Wesley? How long? 1 to 2 years? 10 years? How long's Kamara out? You don't know. It's probably 6 games, but he could be gone the year. You don't know. You don't know. Mike Thomas hasn't proven anything. Yet Landry going to the Falcons. Look, this could all work out. There's still free agency to go, broskies. There's a lot that can happen. Running backs fall late in the draft. What if Rashad White fell to the Atlanta Falcons with one of their picks, their 3rd round pick? What then? They'd have one of the most electric rookie running backs coming out of this class, one of the most underrated, and it could change in a snap. Everybody needs to think long term, and everybody needs to stop thinking about 2022 with this move. Stop being selfish, even if you're thinking redraft. Think about the long-term ramifications if you choose the wrong location. And not that you have any control over it, but I'm just saying, if you're willing something to happen and you want it to happen, think about what you're saying. Watson to Kyle Pitts, build around it. What's wrong with that for a decade? You think the Falcons won't rebuild around Watson and Pitts? In 2 years' time, you will be looking back and saying, I did not like the Atlanta Falcons landing spot. I just liked immediately the New Orleans Saints, but I thought the Falcons were a good landing spot. I mean, they had Kyle Pitts. You know you're going to remember this differently because it's going to be a whole different thing. The Cincinnati Bengals were a laughingstock, an absolute laughingstock walking into last year. Because every single one of the people that are watching right now, raise your hand if you were ripping on the Bengal prediction that the Bengals would win the division. Because they're the Bengals. Jamar Chase was the wrong pick. They should have taken Sewell. Look what the Bengals did. You can turn a franchise around in a snap, just like Kyle's saying with the acquisition of a Deshaun Watson. He can carry it. Look what he's done with Houston. This guy can be an absolute monster. 96 in here, 44 thumbs up. Help out our boy Smitty. Hit the thumbs up, Jeb says. Guys, we got 96 in here. Punch that thumbs up. What's up? Okay. What's up, Bap? What's up? Who that dude? Bap. Kyle. Vamp. Let's go. Even if the Saints offer more money, Atlanta is better location. Forget the team. Yes, T-Bone. I wish more people understood the long-term ramifications of this. I just don't think people they're thinking about 2022 only. Even if you don't play Dynasty, think about the long-term advantage of having Watson in a location where he has Kyle Pitts to throw the football to, and you build around it for a decade. Do people really think the Falcons roster won't change in 2 years, in 3 years, in 4 years? What weapons will Watson have in year 4 in Atlanta? And what good is year 2022 when he's going to miss 4 to 6 games? Stop thinking about 2022. Ronaldo, explain this. Explain it. Saints by far the better team. Explain it. Explain it. I want to know why you believe that. Because in my opinion, it could easily be argued. I'm not saying you can't hold your own opinion on this show. But I would love to know why the Falcons aren't the better long-term location for Deshaun Watson. Explain it to me, because the Saints have Mike Thomas, who has proven zero that he will ever return to the Mike Thomas that we have known and loved for so many years. Zero. Alvin Kamara, you have nothing that says he's going to play 2022 or half of 2022 or not at least miss 4 to 6 games. So tell me how this is a better landing spot for 2022. Tell me how it's a better landing spot for the future when Alvin Kamara probably has 2 years left, one of which he can miss a big chunk of time, and Mike Thomas has nothing over Kyle Pitts. Absolutely nothing. Kyle says MT's been screwing us for years, right? Calvin Ridley is suspended for 2022. This is known, Tube. This is known. We know that. What if Calvin comes back for 2023? Think long term. Even in redraft, what's this do for redraft in 2023? What's this do for redraft in 2025? We want Watson in Atlanta. It's a better move. The Falcons, if the Falcons get Deshaun and manage to keep this year's second round pick and take Pickens or Kenneth Walker, I could actually get excited about it. They're not getting Kenneth Walker. They're definitely get rid of some second round picks. I doubt they keep their second round pick, but you never know. They could give up a defensive player or who knows what. But we do know 3 first rounders and probably a couple of seconds are going to head. It could be later seconds. They could be 2023 and 2024 seconds. Maybe they do keep a second rounder. Kamara will come back in 2023, dude. I get it, Tube. It's not a bad landing spot. I like New Orleans. If he lands in New Orleans, it's a good place. But I just think everybody needs to think more long term, because Kamara's not going to play elite football for more than 2 years. He's just not. He's not. His workload, his amount of touches are through the roof. He will start falling off, getting hurt, not staying healthy. So you have 1 year this year, and then you have next year, Tube. Then what? Kyle Pitts is going to be the top tight end in football and rival top 10 wide receivers in scoring for over a decade. Over a decade. Watson to Kyle is going to blow away Kamara and Watson. It's just going to. You think Atlanta can hold Tampa with that trash defense, Nathan? I at this point, why do I even say anything? Because everyone's talking about 2022, and I'm trying my best on here to vie for 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029, 2030. I'm doing my best to explain that for the long term, even in redraft long term, year to year, you can't think about 2022. It's going to be a lost year. Watson's going to miss 4 to 6 games. Do I think that wherever he goes, if he goes to New Orleans, do I think New Orleans Saints are going to win games in 2022? I don't think they make the playoffs, man. I think they maybe try for it. Maybe there's a nice little story, comeback story, where they start off 2-5 because Watson's out. You know, they start off 2-4, 1-5 because Watson's out 6 games. And 2022 is a lost year. Oh my God. I'm not getting through, but it's fine. It's fine. You guys, it's okay to have your own opinion. I'm sorry if I'm coming off like you can't have your own opinion. I think it's when people act like Atlanta's a bad spot, it makes me get a little defensive over the idea, because I'm looking at the long term. I'm telling you, Atlanta is the better long term option, whether it's dynasty outlook or redraft outlook. You start thinking about 2022, you're gonna wish you didn't. Not that you have any control, I get it, but you're gonna regret if New Orleans goes. You're going to regret the statement that New Orleans is the better spot than Atlanta, because New Orleans is going to fall apart quickly. They've got cap problems. They got all kinds of money issues. New Orleans is not going to be building as well as Atlanta will be around Deshaun Watson. But I don't know. Falcons won't have picks to rebuild. Not initially, bro, but you're not giving up everything. You're giving up first rounders and potentially a couple second rounders. So yes, they won't have first rounders, but they will be able to eventually build around him, and you can do a lot with third and second rounders. So I'm not too concerned. You can still draft great running backs. You can still get good wide receivers. You can still sign guys in free agency. It's not just this is what the team is moving forward. Saints are the better landing spot for Watson for sure. I'm done. I'm done explaining it. I'm absolutely done explaining it. It's like talking to a wall. It's like talking to 100 walls. It's fine. You guys can have your own opinion. Look, I like that. That's what we do here. It's good conversation. But I don't know. It's a trigger to get upset, I guess, when you see that Atlanta's a bad spot. Like, I get if you're like, hey, both have their advantages or whatever, but Atlanta is a fantastic long-term spot. It's hard to explain this to somebody that literally is refusing to look at the long-term outlook of Kyle Pitts and Watson and building around it, as if you can't build around it. Did Watson say he won't go to Philly? Wondering why they aren't in the conversation. Yeah, Philly's out. Cleveland's out. Carolina is about, I would say, 99% out, based on the report that was confirmed by Rappaport. Rappaport confirming that the source has always been legitimate, and that he just hasn't heard it himself, but he does consider the source reporting it very, very valid. So I think he's just wanting to cover his bases, because a lot of stuff is kind of come out. But Kyle Pitts, this is the most intriguing thing. Kyle Pitts releasing this tweet and then deleting it. He released it at 1:05, and it says it's about to get scary in Atlanta. Kyle Pitts and Deshaun Watson share the same agent, according to reports. So this makes a lot of sense. Then he deleted the tweet, and then Kyle Pitts later said that he meant that about Hayward and not about Watson. But we know what this means. We know what time it is. We know when you use don't tell anybody zipper emoji, something's about to break. Something's about to break. He deleted it. He deleted it because he knew he was causing controversy, and he probably was told by Watson or whoever, the team, shut up, delete the tweet. What are you doing, bro? What are you doing breaking this? We're still trying to iron out the details. We're still trying to get rid of Matt Ryan and send him to the Colts. Let me say this. If Matt Ryan ends up, or if Watson ends up going to the Saints, it's a good spot. It's a good spot. You know, do I like Carolina and New Orleans about the same? I could get behind either for a shorter term outlook. Will they build around him wherever he goes? Absolutely. Can New Orleans build around him? Absolutely. Will Kamara, when he's back on the field, be really good, a good fit with Watson? Absolutely. It's just long-term. Kamara doesn't have 3 or 4 years left. He has maybe 2. And he might miss half of a season, if not the entirety of the 2022 season. We don't know how the NFL is going to come down upon Kamara after video footage confirmed the victim's story about Kamara and his entourage beating him in an elevator and kicking him while he was unconscious. The league's not going to look good at that. So it's not like Kamara is going to 100% be in the cards here. Let's see here. Let me make sure there's nothing breaking right now on Twitter or through Rappaport or any source. Let me refresh and let you know if I see anything. Nothing. No updates. Nothing on Watson. I have a feeling I'll be immediately, like, I'm going to end the live stream and I'm going to be back in 1 to 2 hours going live on an emergency live stream, because I think we're going to find out some news on Matt Ryan, which will trigger, the direction. So, like, let's say 4 o'clock passes. What time is it right now? 4 o'clock. I don't know if that was 4 o'clock Eastern, because if it was 4 o'clock Eastern, then that time frame passed on the Matt Ryan situation. But it could be 4 o'clock. Let me see what time. Let me see if Matt Ryan got his contract guaranteed or not, or his extension. They were going to push through. For those that don't know, last night I reported that according to an ESPN report, Matt Ryan had a restructure that was going to move money downstream so that the Falcons could navigate free agency a little better in 2022. They didn't process it. They wanted to try and trade Matt Ryan, and trading Matt Ryan with that guaranteed money already triggered, and the restructuring would have made Matt Ryan's contract look less attractive to trade. It was more of a desperate move to get, move stuff, kick the can down the road, and move stuff around so they could do and be active in free agency. Vamp with the super chat. Jimmy G Subway commercial. Coincidence? I think not, Vamp. And then we had another super chat. Did I not? Let me see. Who was that? I remember it now. I apologize. Josh! Are you still here, Josh? Appreciate you with the super chat. Bring Baker to Philly. Browns F themselves. High second round pick and Hurts to fill their QB. Ain't no way Baker plays for the Browns again. Josh, I 100% agree with you. Are you still here, Josh? Where's Josh at? Damn, Brady blocked Watson's chance for Tampa Bay, says Omar. Josh, are you still here? I think Hurts needs to get a shot, and I would love to see him moved into a situation where this might not be a bad idea. I don't mind this idea, Josh, at all. I don't know that it will happen, but I would love to see Baker sent to Philly for Hurts. Hurts going elsewhere. I love the idea of Hurts going elsewhere, period. I want Hurts to get a shot. Hurts is a good quarterback, Josh. He's a good quarterback. And people give him so much flack for inaccuracies when this man's had to endure so much crap in Philly. I like the idea of her. And granted, Hurts is a better fantasy quarterback than he is an NFL quarterback, but that's early on in his career. Hurts to Seattle, I would love to see it. Hurts to Cleveland, I would rather see that than Philly. Hurts to New Orleans, that would be okay too. Hurts somewhere. Josh, where are you? I agree with you. And thank you for the super chat, Josh. Seattle might get Cap. Wouldn't surprise me. And to be honest, if I'm Seattle, I'd rather have Cap than Jimmy G. Josh is still here. All right. Attaboy, Josh. Thank you for the super chat, man. Baker isn't going anywhere, Smitty. Doug? I think Noah is Doug. Look at this. They both have purple avatars, okay, that just coincidentally are set to purple by YouTube. Yeah, sure. And then instantly, at the same time, Noah says hello to Doug. Right after Doug makes a statement like this, Baker isn't going anywhere, Smitty. And then Noah says hello. These are the same people. Doug and Noah, Noah and Doug. These are the same people. They also cut Fletcher Cox, but they say that they are reworking his contract. But a little weird, I think. I think you might be onto something. I'd love, Josh. Here's the thing: Philly hates Jalen Hurts. Even Doug Peterson hated Jalen Hurts And then Sirianni comes in and you're like, great, new coach. No, he hates Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is despised by the Philadelphia Eagles. They want somebody else so badly. And you know what? Bring him somewhere else. Bring him somewhere where he can get mentored and shaped. And if you think that Jalen Hurts is a lost cause accuracy-wise, like he's garbage, he's a trash can. I hear that all the time. He's a trash can. He's garbage. He has no accuracy. I'm sure glad you weren't in charge of Jalen Hurts, of Josh Allen coming out of his rookie year. I'm certainly glad you had nothing to do with it, you Jalen Hurts hater. You had nothing to do with the development of Josh Allen or the decision to keep Josh Allen moving forward from his inaccurate start to the NFL, changing his mechanics and turning into the best quarterback in the NFL. I am certainly glad that you had nothing to do with Josh Allen and his progression. So let's give Jalen Hurts a little more love and at least some respect and at least the opportunity to go somewhere and develop, because Jalen Hurts is not trash. He's young. He played 1 year, and everybody's willing to write him off after 1 year when fantasy-wise he was pretty darn productive and he's got wheels. He can run for 900 yards and 10 TDs in a single season. So let's stop with the Jalen Hurts is garbage. Let's give him a shot. Baker to Seattle is certainly an opportunity. I think that everybody's saying Baker requested a trade. That is true. Everybody's saying Baker's going to decide where he goes. That is not true. The Cleveland Browns denied Baker Mayfield's request to seek a trade. Does not mean that they won't trade him. They're just not going to accommodate him in the process. They're not going to give him permission to think he's got the power to go knifing around. Like, permission to seek a trade? Granted. Okay, I'm out of here. Who wants me? I'll come talk to you. They're going to say, hey, no permission to seek a trade. Go sit in the corner. We're going to find out what we're going to do with you. That's what the Cleveland Browns are doing. And guess what? You know what? I kind of agree with it. Baker Mayfield hasn't shown maturity for a long time. And Baker Mayfield is kind of that personality. Somebody said he's a sober, what's his name? Johnny Manziel. And that's a very good way of describing him. This dates back to college when he ran away from the police. If you guys remember that footage of him running away from the police and then getting leveled by the cops and everybody making fun of the fact that the cops leveled him. How is he going to handle the NFL if he can't, if he can't run 15 yards before getting leveled? I am not Noah, says Doug. It took you a while to write that. Did you have to switch? Doug, you feel like you might be Noah. I don't know, though. Baker is funny in the commercials. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll give him that, buffoon. I'll give him that. Sober Johnny Manziel. I forget who said that, but yeah, it felt very accurate. That's not my thing. Somebody else said it. Credit to somebody else who I don't remember who it was. If Watson gets traded, does he have to sign an agreement for... Oh, come on. Come on, Joshua. Come on. Baker is sorry Fitzmagic can hand the ball off to Hunt and Chubb 40 times a game. Baker is sorry Fitzmagic can hand the ball off to... That's what you're trying to... Okay. Jersey plug. I'm sorry. I without the punctuation, I don't know where the sentence began and ended, so it took me a second. Make only massages. Come on, Omar! My sources tell me Jimmy G is better than Baker, better than Watson. Do you have your ankle brackets the wrong way? Ronaldo? I think you might have the ankle brackets going the wrong way, pal. Does Armstead stay in New Orleans? I don't know. Smitty, Watson isn't going anywhere. Thanks, Doug. Doug, thanks for breaking that. Doug, I don't know what we'd do without you on the show, Doug. I think we'd be lost without Doug. Everybody take a moment and be grateful for Doug being here. I don't know what we'd do without him, without his takes. Breaking news left and right. Baker better than Watson. J Bro says Baker better than Watson. Really? Are you trying to get sent on a lap? I mean, we were handing out laps to innocent people last night. I was getting so riled up. I apologize for last night. I was a little amped up. I apologize for today. I'm a little amped up today. But I was sending innocent people on laps last night. I wasn't even reading comments correctly. Someone was repeating a negative comment someone said, and I sent them on a lap, and I had to take that back. But Jay Bro's trolling. We're not going to even give him the satisfaction of being sent on a lap. We're just not doing it. Noah's thanking Doug again. Like, you definitely know each other. Doug to the Noah moon. This has turned into a troll show. Just a few people. We always have a couple trolls in here. Money Mills, the young goat, says Roberto. Oh boy. Let me see if there's any more news. But this is interesting, guys. This feels a lot like it's going to happen to me. But this Matt Ryan situation is a big crutch. Because his contract is hard to move. But I really believe if you're the Colts, you don't have any other move. Jimmy G's not the move. If you're the Colts and you have the cap space, Matt Ryan helps you become a multiple playoff win team. You can not only get into the playoffs, you can go multiple rounds into the playoffs with Matt Ryan in command and JT to the moon. Like, Matt Ryan is the perfect solution for an Indianapolis Colts fan. If you're an Indianapolis Colts fan, you're looking at this going, what? We can get Matt Ryan? Like, Matt Ryan might have been, like, not a laughing stock to most anybody prior to this news, but it's kind of like, you know, he's not the sexy pick, you know. You're like, okay, Matt Ryan's he's good. He's not amazing. He's not great. But then all of a sudden you talk to a Colts fan and you're like, how would you like Matt Ryan? And then they all of a sudden think about, well, it's kind of like Stafford. You know, like Stafford was an attractive option, but he wasn't like a top 5 quarterback to anybody. Granted, he feels like he could be top 5 to 7 right now in his current situation. But similar to how that felt, okay, you know, he was a Lion. The Lions held him back. Stafford was kind of hit and miss. He always seemed to like be not banged up because he'd play, but banged up and playing. And you're just worried about him. He comes over to the Rams. You're not sure how it's going to shake out. It shakes out obviously very, very well. The Rams win a Super Bowl. Now everybody remembers Stafford as an easy call. He was easy. We knew he was going to be good. Like, it had to grow on you a little bit when Stafford was heading over. It was an upgrade. The same thing with Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan heading over to Indy, it's got to grow on you a little bit, but you know it's an upgrade. You just don't know what it's going to do for you. I think the Colts become pretty scary, inefficient, and Jonathan Taylor is protected if Matt Ryan's under center. You want Jonathan Taylor having Matt Ryan as his quarterback because it makes Jonathan Taylor that much more safe. Less 8-man fronts, better field position. You're in the red zone often instead of trying to make Jonathan Taylor score all his touchdowns from 25, 30 yards out. Jonathan Taylor could go from 12 or 10 rushing touchdowns to maybe 14 or 15. So I love the idea of Matt Ryan in Indy, and I think Indy probably does too. Indy is desperate for a quarterback. If you hear Matt Ryan's available and you've got the cap space for it, why on earth would you not want that if you're the Indianapolis Colts? You're trying to make this happen. I believe they're trying to make it happen, whether it happens or not. Whether Atlanta gets what they want out of it, I don't know. If they want to win, they're going to want Watson, and I think Watson turns his franchise around really quickly. Really quickly. Like, Atlanta feels garbage, but close your eyes and imagine Atlanta with Watson. It changes things dramatically. Smitty, do you not like the Saints? I like the Saints as an option. It's just not as good of a long-term option. It's as good. It's a potentially better 2022 and maybe 2023 landing spot. Maybe. I would say better 2022 landing spot, but at the same time, what if Kamara misses half a year? What if Watson's out 4 to 6 games because he did violate? He did. He's getting suspended. Whether it's in 2023 and they wait or 2022, he's getting suspended. So New Orleans in 2022, if Kamara's out half a year, if Watson's out 4 to 6 games, I mean, what are we really looking at for 2022? When they all come back, is it going to be a good place to be? Sure. But in 2023, if anybody thinks that the Atlanta Falcons can't build around, bring in Landry, okay? Bring in other wide receivers and make some good signings because cap is movable. And they can make a splash in 2023 free agency. If anybody thinks that walking into 2023, the team won't look significantly better walking in than they did in 2022, they're out of their minds. I don't care if you're giving up your first rounders and maybe a couple or one second rounder. You still have draft capital. They still may get some draft picks back. Who knows? They might get a third or a fourth or whatever. You still have draft capital. You still have free agency. You have Kyle Pitts. You may bring back Cordero Patterson, who's no spring chicken. And of course, it took him a while to get to where he was, but he played really well last year. If people don't think that Cordero Patterson, Kyle Pitts, maybe they bring in Landry and they improve the defense and the offense over the next 2 years. If people think that entering year 3, that Atlanta won't look better than the New Orleans Saints will look in 3 years, I don't think they're looking at the big picture. They're looking at the now. They're looking at Kamara, who is maybe suspended, and they act like he's not. They're looking at Mike Thomas as if he looks like the same player a few years back. You don't know what Mike Thomas is going to bring to the table. The New Orleans Saints could fall apart like that. They've got money issues. They've got cap issues. Atlanta is going to be a good spot. They're going to be in a good position to build around Watson. It's a phenomenal landing spot. A phenomenal landing spot. It's not a okay landing spot. It's a phenomenal landing spot. What does Atlanta have at wide receiver? I just explained it. Ridley may come back in 2023. We don't know. So that's an option. If he doesn't, they'll bring in talent. That's what they're going to focus on. Literally focus on. Will Landry be brought in? Landry would be a great addition. You got Landry at wide receiver. You got Kyle Pitts at tight end. This guy, Watson, can carry a team by himself better than any other quarterback in the NFL. I'm not saying that will equate to playoff wins in year 1. It may not even equate to much in year 2. But long term, for the next 10 years, it's an absolute phenomenal landing spot. William's laughing at 2023. William, why are you laughing at 2023? Are you not listening? Are you just focused on 2022? Because what I'm talking about is the long-term impact of Deshaun Watson. The long-term impact. Where do you want him in 2023? Where do you want him in 2024? Where do you want him in 2025, William? Do you really want him in a location that could deteriorate instead of a place where they can build around this man? It's like this is the same conversation that I had about the Bengals walking into last year and the year prior to that, talking about how quickly the Bengals will turn things around. Joe Burrow's a horrible spot. The Bengals are awful. It's going to turn around very quickly. When you get a player like Burrow or you get a player like Watson, you can build around that player differently than if, let's say, a running back lands in a really bad spot. This is the exact same thing with Burrow. When Burrow landed in Cincy, do you know how many people said it was an awful landing spot? He'd never be well. He'd never win a championship. He'd never get to a Super Bowl. It took such a short period of time to build around a talent like Joe Burrow. It's just like everyone's looking at 2022. I get it. I understand why. I get why you guys are looking at 2022, the Bengals, but the Bengals didn't trade Burrow. I know. Who said that they traded for Burrow, bro? Nobody. I didn't say anything of the sort. I'm saying everyone talked about how Burrow landing in Cincy was a bad spot. They wouldn't be able to rebuild. They wouldn't build around him. They wouldn't be able to get to a Super Bowl. Saints are a good spot. They are a good spot. These are two really good spots. However it shakes out, it'll be a good place for Watson to be. And again, 2022, we don't know what it's going to look like. Bengals situation is completely different. And you can say that, Tube, now. You can say that now. And of course there's differences, of course. But my point being, everyone and their mother ripped into the Bengals as if they couldn't build around Burrow. Everybody and their mother last year ripped on that the Bengals will win the division. They can't. They can't do it. They can't just do it with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow acting like they won't build and improve. Like, it's the same thing. It's different in some ways, but it's the same concept. The doubt is the same. The doubt is real. Everyone feels like Atlanta's going to be garbage for what? The entire 10 years that Watson's under center there? Give me a break. They're going to turn things around really quickly in Atlanta. Keep Winston 1 year, sign Watson, have him sit 1 year. Why would you have him sit 1 year? He might get suspended 4 to 6 games. Okay. Breaking news, Indy signs. Oh no. Let me see. Let me check. I'm expecting some news to break here in any second, so let me just click this real quick. Nothing new on Matt Ryan. We're still waiting on that. We got the Fletcher Cox release. We have yeah, nothing new. People will take less to pay Watson, play for Watson. I agree, Bruce. Watson gonna wait until tomorrow. Yeah, it could happen, or it could just happen a little later tonight. Let's hit the voicemails. We're still going live at 7 p.m. Eastern like normal. We got a couple of questions here, though.
Hey, Smitty. In general, what's your opinion of third-round reversal? It's becoming more popular. I'm seeing it everywhere. I've never implemented it myself.
Third round reversal, I don't really care for. It can definitely even the playing field, but it's just not something that I like playing personally. I just think that, you know, I'm tired of the whole, like, let's keep evening the field. You know, like, at what point do we stop? At what point do we stop saying, hey, because quarterbacks score this amount, now we're going to move them down to 4 points per TD. And then all of a sudden, we're not happy with that. You know, let's make wide receivers PPR instead of non-PPR, which I got behind, and I'm all for that. I'm never going back. PPR is the only way to play now. If you play non-PPR, you're playing with guys that have been playing for 30 years or something. Like, it's PPR. But at what point do you keep, you know, trying to even and level out values? Like, Superflex is cool. I like it, but it was created because people got tired of quarterbacks being undervalued. And it's like, now you do third round reversal because you're tired of the person that gets the one pick having an advantage. And it's like everybody keeps making these new rules to try and balance the scales so that everything's looked at as even. I personally don't like it. I think when you get the 1.1, that's the beauty. You know, you're getting the back-to-back 24 and 25 overall picks. It's a huge advantage. I know people don't like advantages, but then go to auction. You know what I mean? Like, auction or regular snake draft are the best ways, in my opinion. But hey, to each his own. If you like third round reversal, that's all good by me.
Hey, Smitty, do the Rams have a legitimate chance to repeat as Super Bowl champs going into 2022 with all these additional add-ons? But they also lost Von Miller into free agency to the Buffalo Bills. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, they definitely could be a repeat, Super Bowl appearing team. Like, do I think they'll win it? Probably not. Could they repeat or at least get to the Super Bowl again? Probably could, but I'm going to say they don't this year. I'm going to say either the Packers or the Niners make the NFC, or I don't know if, obviously it depends on seeding, but I'd say Packers versus Niners, one of those two teams wins and heads to the Super Bowl from the NFC side of things. I think Rodgers wins a Super Bowl in the next 2 years. I think the Niners could win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years, at least next 3 years. I think Trey Lance is going to be that good. So I don't think the Rams will repeat. They could. I just don't think they will.
Hey, Smitty, it's Drake again. Breaking news. With the LA Rams. How is it the LA Rams wide receiving corps going to look going into 2022 with a healthy Robert Bobby Trees, Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham, Higbee, and now A-Rob into the fold? Thanks, pal.
I don't know that Odell will be brought back. He might be brought back. I think they kind of want to bring him back, but bringing in Allen Robinson definitely throws a wrench into that potential plan. Maybe they still bring him back, but Odell's not going to be healthy. Odell tore his ACL like literally yesterday, practically. Like he's going to take a long time. So I don't put much stock into Odell at all. Allen Robinson was a great move. Bobby Trees coming back from an ACL tear too. While he should be ready, I don't know that he'll be the same player. You know, he's a little older now. Coming back from an ACL tear is not easy from a running back perspective for sure, but it's also not very easy when you're not like a young wide receiver. So Bobby Trees could be okay, but I think Allen Robinson's a real nice shot. Has a real nice shot for a good target share. We'll have to see, but it's hard to make out the wide receiver group, but I think that definitely helps Cooper Kupp not get completely focused on by defenses to have Allen Robinson there. So it was a good move. Sit Watson so he can do legal issues, play Winston. If you bring in Watson and he's not suspended, you're playing him, Knowledge. I get what you're trying to say, but there's no reason to keep him on the bench so he can work on his extracurricular legal activities. Like, put him on the field, bro. Like, you're trading for him for a reason. Sit him for a year, he gets stale. You don't want. He just sat for an entire year. Knowledge. I appreciate the super chat, by the way. But do you really want him to sit for 2 full years? Like, no way. You don't want him to get rusty, bro. You got to get him out on the field. But I understand what you're saying. Like, why get him hurt in a wasted year anyway if he's suspended 4 to 6 games? But you can't have him sit. He would be out of football for 2 straight years. He would lose an edge if he wasn't playing football. So you definitely want him out there. But I appreciate you, pal. I appreciate your super chat. Keep it coming. And hit the thumbs up if you're in here and you haven't done so. It helps the channel grow. I'm sorry I'm a little testy. I'm also you guys got to understand, I'm also a little hangry from time to time because I'm fasting. Okay? I'm doing this eating once a day, and it's making me irate at times, especially on like hot button topics, you know what I mean? So I apologize if I came off a little harsh on some of the Atlanta's a horrible landing spot, but I can't take that no one's looking at that long term. It's driving me mad. I know I'm right on it. It's the better long-term option. He'll change everything. They're going to worship this man in Atlanta. He's going to be productive. He's going to be healthy. He's going to be driven. And Atlanta is going to become a place where people want to go. They're going to bring in guys. In the next 3 years, you'll see a completely different team. And I'm thinking long-term here. I'm not thinking about 2022. I get the Saints are probably the better now. I get the Saints are probably the better 2022 location. I get it. I'm not an idiot. But I'm thinking 3 years down the road. The Saints won't be the same team offensively. Yes, they can also make additions, but Mike Thomas and Kamara won't be the same players. Kyle Pitts will be. Kyle Pitts will be better 3 years from now. Kyle Pitts to Watson's more important than Kamara and Mike Thomas for now, maybe for the next year, and then not having them at the same level year 3, 4, and 5, and 6. They're not even in the picture. Kyle Pitts and Watson it's long term. It's better long term. I don't care what anybody says. You're wrong. Atlanta's better long term. Absolutely better. 100%. 100% disagree with anyone that says Atlanta's not better long term. It's Kyle Pitts. There are going to be so many more weapons on this roster 3 years from today. If you want to debate that you're more focused on 2022, you don't care about the long term, I get it. I accept it. It is what it is. But it's not better. New Orleans is not better long term. It's just not. Plain and simple. What about Malik Willis? I'd say Malik Willis in Pittsburgh would have been a great place. He wasn't going to fall. Malik Willis is going to go really early. The NFL draft order is right here. I'd probably say Carolina. If Carolina doesn't, commit themselves to an awful situation like Jimmy G, I mean that would be a horrible decision. If Carolina doesn't commit to Jimmy G, they would be really smart to draft Malik Willis. Will Detroit take him? Maybe not. They shouldn't believe in Goff. Maybe they do roll with Goff. Houston obviously is not. I don't think they take him. They want to ride with Mills. Plus they're in rebuild mode. I think they are more interested in a quarterback next year than this year. Jets obviously aren't going to do anything. Giants could take a quarterback. Dable is definitely, I don't think, sold on Danny Dimes. Chicago traded their pick to the Giants. Giants have a lot of picks. I would say Seattle's not going to get... Seattle wants Malik Willis, but I don't think they're getting him at 10. They could. If he's there, they're snagging him. Atlanta, if they don't have... Let's say they were to trade Matt Ryan and they don't acquire Watson, they could take Malik Willis at 8 for sure. But I think Carolina is going to... A lock to get him at 6. I think someone may trade up. Like somebody may trade up for Willis, but he's good. He's the best quarterback in this draft class, in my opinion. He's a little raw, but he's got a lot of talent. I feel the Falcons should trade Ryan to the Colts. Yep, that's what I've been talking about with that pick. Falcons draft Willis. If they don't get Watson and they do trade Ryan to the Colts, that's what I was just saying. That I think they draft Watson or Willis. I think they draft Willis if they're in that situation, that exact situation. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, hit that thumbs up button if you're new. Subscribe if you're new. Falcons, no news. Let me pull it up. You guys got any more voicemails? Drop them. Nothing new. Kind of quiet. The calm before the storm, potentially. Or we find out tomorrow. What's this say here? Mealy. So far out, there is be shocked if Carolina did that. Did what? Draft Willis? Maybe rephrase that, Mealy. Musical chairs at quarterback. It's been one of the most exciting off seasons we've seen in a long time. Out of my 20 years of doing this professionally, I can tell you that this has got to be the best off season, most exciting off season I've been a part of. That goes 20 years back. Covering the NFL draft, 20 years, easily the most exciting offseason. And it's because of the quarterback musical chairs, like you're saying, Cliff. It's made it so fun. Even the Aaron Rodgers and Brady stuff has been entertaining. I know a lot of people say they're tired of hearing about it, but let's be honest. It was entertaining. It kept everybody busy. Apparently the Browns won't give Baker his wish. Yeah, they've already said we're not granting you permission to seek a trade. Doesn't mean they won't try and trade him on their own terms, though. So they're going to definitely be looking at getting rid of him, but they're putting him in the corner and they're saying, Baker, no, we're not giving you permission to go just dance around and find a team of your choosing. We're saying, no, get in the corner where you belong. We'll go figure out what we want to do with you, is what they're doing. Last year was the best NFL draft, though. Out of all the 20 years of doing this, I have to say last year there were so many skill position players drafted in round 1. You had offensive linemen that were absolutely elite falling into the second round. You had defensive players falling into the second round. There were so many offensive skill position players that were taken last year. Last year was by far the best NFL draft I've ever seen, followed up by this year being the most exciting offseason we have ever seen in fantasy football. And again, as Cliff said, and as I've said over and over, partially to do with all the quarterback movement, which used to not happen. Brady kind of changed the dynamic of that. Quarterbacks just didn't get traded. Russell Wilson getting traded was almost unheard of. Like, that was so hard to expect to happen. It just didn't feel like you just don't trade a top 7 quarterback in the NFL. And the Saints and the Seahawks did. And Brady moving to Tampa, winning a championship. Matt Ryan moving to the Rams, winning a championship. And it's like, what's next? What potential player moving to another team could potentially be it's crazy. It's crazy. Moving teams is not, as a quarterback, is not unheard of anymore. And that used to be the case, where it's like quarterbacks just didn't move. Now that's what's making this offseason so exciting. Look at all the quarterback movement. It's out of control in a good way. Like, could the Denver Broncos win the 2022 Super Bowl? They certainly could. They certainly could.
I think franchisees that are looking to be a part of something.
You know what? You know what, the Rook? If you have a problem with the show, I'll just remove you from the show. How's that? This guy isn't taking into account the instability the Falcons have as far as their staff goes. Well, tell you what, Rook, if everything I say doesn't agree with you, you can go. You're gone. Plain and simple. You want to be a problem on the channel? You don't want to be productive? You don't want to have good conversations? Then you can go. Then you're gone. Plain and simple. Russ Wilson jersey sales have surpassed Tom Brady 12 since becoming a Bronco. I would not be shocked if the Broncos made it to the Super Bowl. I wouldn't. I think Herbert's probably going to be the one quarterback that like, just, even though he's the number 2 fantasy quarterback last year, he still is very undervalued. You know, he's still very overlooked. I think Herbert isn't, like, you tell people he could be the number 1 quarterback in the NFL in 2022, and people will laugh at you, even though he finishes the number 2 last year. Like, he'll be in MVP talk considerations. He might win the MVP, and the Chargers just improved their defense to the nth degree. Like, this Chargers defense is going to be a problem for the NFL, which is going to in turn grant the Chargers good field position, which will in turn grant Herbert better and more productive plays and more touchdown opportunities and more scoring, just more scoring chances in general for the rushing attack, the offense in general. And you're talking about a serious upgrade all the way around, a trickle effect. So Herbert's gonna just have a monster year. But it wouldn't surprise me if Russell Wilson or Mahomes or Herbert end up rotating being this AFC, challenger each year. And it just kind of like, how do you get into the Super Bowl if you're in the AFC? You're one of 4 teams, rotating. Like, it's going to be so hard to get. It's going to be so hard to get into an AFC slot and make it into the Super Bowl. It's just, I mean, these young quarterbacks, these young Bucks, you got Burrow too. It's going to be a rotation of Burrow, Herbert, Mahomes, Russell Wilson. I mean, it's going to be hard. Noah says, Smitty, can I be a mod? I'm way better than Rook. Well, I mean, that might be the case, Noah, actually. But it still doesn't mean you're going to get a mod access, Noah. I don't know what would you moderate, Noah? Because what you say half the time is almost stuff we need to moderate. Like, what are you going to moderate? Someone would have to like come in and just berate me for you to even like potentially use your moderating abilities, because literally a lot of stuff you say is on the verge of being moderated. So I don't know, Noah. And you don't have to agree with me. I don't want anybody to say, oh, he threw out a guy who didn't agree with him. It's not that. He just continuously, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. This guy clearly doesn't. Like, I'm reading the chat, bro. If you have something to say it to me. Don't keep talking to my audience saying this guy doesn't know what he's saying. This guy, that you do that, I'm going to boot you out of the stream. Like, why would I want you in here infecting the community, dragging it down, saying this guy that, this guy this? You start doing that, you're out of here. Okay? At least say it to my face. If you want to say it to my face, fine. You talk to the audience, we're going to remove you. And you don't have to agree with me. If you guys love New Orleans better than Atlanta, that's fine. It's just when someone comes in and they're disrespectful to the opinion of the show, that's the opinion of the show. You're here to watch the show. Maybe you don't agree. That's fine. And you can say that. You can do it politely. But let's not come in here and start talking to the audience about how this guy, what's he think he's bringing people over to his channel or wherever he is? It's like, he doesn't know me. He doesn't know anything about me. I agree with you on Atlanta long-term, prefer him in New Orleans. And I can understand that, Jake, if you like him for the now in New Orleans. But I think people do have to really think about, what if New Orleans is without Kamara and without Mike Thomas and without Watson? Like, let's say Mike Thomas comes back and he's fine. We don't know if he's fine. We don't know. No one knows. No one knows anything about Mike Thomas. Everyone's assuming, just like last year, that Mike Thomas will be great. He'll be great. He's back. He's back. How do we know he's back? And if Kamara and Watson both miss half a year or 6 games, why is New Orleans better? I don't know. 2022 is going to go by real quick. And then what are we looking at? What's Kamara look like? How many years left, if even one, does Kamara have? Is Mike Thomas even a shell of himself anymore? What will New Orleans really look like 3 years from today? And even though I know a lot of people are saying, well, yeah, I get that. I don't play in Dynasty. I play in a redraft. You still have to think about it from a redraft perspective, because in 2023, are you not going to play redraft fantasy football? In 2024, are you not going to play redraft fantasy football? Like Watson to Kyle Pitts, does anybody not understand what that's going to do for fantasy football for the next decade? And does anybody really believe that they won't bring in a Landry? They won't resign Cordero for the now. I know he's not long-term, but he did really well last year. Does anybody think that there won't be a Rashad White or a running back of that caliber waiting around in the 3rd and 4th round for Atlanta to scoop up? Does anybody think that they won't grab... I need a list of the free agent running backs right now. It would be nice if they scooped up like a Mostert, or they got involved in that right now while they're waiting. But I'm sure they're like, hey, we got enough money to move right now. We can't be taking on money while we're trying to push the Matt Ryan contract off on Indy or wherever, Cleveland. Ryan could play with... I think Ryan could be in Cleveland or in Indy. And that 4 o'clock deadline, which has already passed, and we haven't heard anything, that doesn't prohibit the trade from happening. It just probably makes it harder. And it probably makes Watson more apt to be like, look, I gave you time to make a deal, guys. And I know there's moving parts here, and I know you're trying, but it's not happening. I'm going to New Orleans. Like, I could easily see him going to New Orleans. And for those just joining us, Cleveland and Carolina apparently are out. Hey, that's a great potential move. I mean, Barkley won't cost you what you think he'll cost you. You could probably get Barkley for a 2nd or a 3rd rounder. That's the way running backs are valued. You bring Barkley over, then what? Then what are people going to say if something small, like that's a big move, but it costs very little? Because Barkley wouldn't cost you more than a 2nd rounder or a 3rd rounder. There was talk about a 3rd rounder for a while. Like what are people going to say if Barkley got traded over to the Atlanta Falcons right after this move happened? What do you think people would say? You think people would say, never mind, Atlanta's looking pretty darn good? Watson, Barkley, Ridley next year, if he comes back, then that's no more question than Mike Thomas is. You know. Oh! Breaking news! Hold on. I don't know if this is true yet. Holy shit. I don't know. We got to confirm this, okay? This is coming from a verified source on Twitter. Verified source on Twitter. Deshaun Watson is expected to waive his no-trade clause and join the Atlanta Falcons per source. The trade should be announced within the next few hours. What did I say? What did I say? We got to confirm this source. We got to confirm the source real quick. I mean, Sports Talk Atlanta, Chief Operations Officer and producer for Sports Talk Atlanta. He is verified. I'm sure this is going to hit right this second on Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter's Twitter. So give it a second here just to get final confirmation. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I'm probably going to end this live and go live in a second just to break it with a new video. Let's go. Let's go. So pumped about this move. So pumped. I might end the stream. Every one of you come back. I'm going to start a new live stream announcing this right now. Everybody come right back. Everybody come right back. Let's go. Let's go. Atlanta Falcons. Let's go, Deshaun. I don't know how this deal, this is probably pending. This is probably pending some sort of Matt Ryan announcement as well. Let's see here, right here. I'm sorry, but I'm just not trying so much time on the wall with the other one. Mealy, I'm not sure what you're saying there. I can't read right now because I'm kind of excited. I bet you really gets 3 game suspension. Who knows, man? Who knows? All of a sudden, I'm rooting. Kyle Pitts. Oh my God. I'll be right back. Every single one of you. Come right back. I'm going to go live in 1 second.